Can you imagine a time when a single TV show could bring an entire nation to a standstill? No, I'm not talking about a Super Bowl or a royal wedding. I'm talking about a fictional wedding, a moment so powerful it felt more real than reality itself. We're going back to November 16th and 17th, 1981. The event. It's the wedding of Luke Spencer and Laura Weber on the ABC soap opera General Hospital *. For those who weren't there, it's almost impossible to describe the phenomenon. This wasn't just a popular episode. It was a cultural touchstone. An estimated 30 million viewers tuned in. To put that in perspective, that's more people than watched many of the recent Super Bowls. On that day, streets were reportedly quieter. College campuses set up viewing parties in their student unions. People scheduled their work breaks around it. It was appointment television in its purest form. So what was the big deal? To understand the wedding, you have to understand Luke and Laura. Their story wasn't your typical fairy tale romance. In fact, it started in a deeply controversial and dark place, a storyline that would never and should never be written today. Yet, through a complex and evolving narrative, they became the quintessential super couple. He was the brooding anti-hero from the wrong side of the tracks. She was the sweet girl next door. Their chemistry, portrayed by Anthony Geary and Jeannie Francis, was electric. It was raw, passionate, and utterly captivating. Their journey was a roller coaster of drama. We're talking mob entanglements, secret identities, amnesia, and a relentless pursuit by the evil Cassadine family who wanted to freeze the world with a weather machine. Yes, you heard that right. It was a wild, over-the-top adventure, and the audience was hooked on every twist and turn. Their love story felt like an escape, a grand, epic romance that was bigger than life. They were the runaways, the rebels, the lovers against the world, and everyone was rooting for them. By the time the wedding was announced, the anticipation was at a fever pitch. This wasn't just two characters getting married. It was the culmination of years of turmoil and devotion. It felt like a national victory. The wedding itself was a two-part extravaganza. It wasn't held in a stuffy church. Oh no, that would be too simple for Luke and Laura. They got married in the middle of a garden in Port Charles, the fictional city where the show is set. Laura's wedding dress was iconic. It was a beautiful lacy collared gown that became an instant classic of early 80s bridal fashion. It was designed by Elizabeth Courtney, the show's costumer, and it perfectly captured the romantic, slightly fairy tale quality of the moment. Women across America wanted a dress just like it. And the guest list? It was a who's who of Port Charles. Friends, family, and even a few reformed enemies gathered to witness the union. But this was General Hospital *, so of course there was drama. The entire wedding was shadowed by the lingering threat of the Cassadines. Would they show up and ruin everything? That tension kept everyone on the edge of their seats. One of the most memorable parts of the ceremony was a surprise appearance by a Hollywood legend, Elizabeth Taylor. She was a massive fan of the show and asked for a role. She played Helena Cassadine, the vengeful widow of the villain, Mikos Cassadine, who Luke had defeated. Taylor, draped in a dramatic black veil, stood at the back of the crowd and delivered a chilling curse upon the happy couple. "I give you my curse," she whispered, "a curse on you both. Luke and Laura, you will never find happiness." It was an incredible, surreal moment, one of the biggest movie stars in the world. On a daytime soap, cursing the beloved couple, it sent shivers down everyone's spine and cemented the wedding's legendary status. Despite the curse, the vows went on. Luke, ever the rebel, looked so out of place, yet so right in his suit. Laura was glowing. When they finally said "I do" and shared their first kiss as husband and wife, you could practically hear the collective sigh of relief and joy across 30 million living rooms. It was the happy ending everyone had been waiting for. The media frenzy surrounding the wedding was unprecedented for a daytime show. Newsweek magazine featured Luke and Laura on its cover with the headline, "TV's Hottest Show." Think about that. A soap opera on the cover of one of the nation's most respected news magazines. It was proof that General Hospital had transcended its genre. It wasn't just a housewife show. It was a pop culture juggernaut. People who didn't even watch soaps knew who Luke and Laura were. They were referenced in comedy sketches, in other TV shows, and in everyday conversation. Their wedding was the ultimate water cooler moment before we even had water coolers in the modern sense. The next day, everyone was talking about it, the dress, the curse, the kiss. What made it so special? Part of it was the timing. In the early 1980s, we had limited entertainment options. There were only a few networks, no internet, no streaming services, and no social media. This created a shared cultural experience that's almost impossible to replicate today. When something big happened on TV, almost everyone saw it at the same time. We all experienced it together as a community. The Luke and Laura wedding was perhaps one of the last great monoculture events of its kind. The story tapped into a deep-seated desire for epic romance. It was a modern-day Romeo and Juliet but with mobsters and weather machines instead of feuding families in Verona. Their love felt earned. They had fought for it, risked everything for it, and the wedding was their reward. And by extension, it felt like our reward too. We, the viewers, had been on that journey with them. We'd felt their heartbreak, their fear, and their passion. Their wedding felt like a personal triumph. The legacy of that episode is immense. Elevated daytime television to a new level of respectability and proved its commercial power. It set the standard for the super couple trope that would dominate soap operas for decades to come. Every soap wanted their own Luke and Laura. The wedding also demonstrated the incredible power of long-form, serialized storytelling. Viewers had invested years in these characters, and the payoff was enormous. Decades later, the Luke and Laura wedding remains the benchmark against which all other TV weddings are measured. It's a moment frozen in time, a perfect storm of brilliant storytelling, charismatic actors, and a captive national audience. It reminds us of a time when a fictional story could unite millions, creating a shared memory that has lasted for generations. It wasn't just an episode of television. It was a phenomenon. So, did they live happily ever after? Well, this is a soap opera, so of course not. The curse of Helena Cassadine loomed large. Their life together was filled with more drama, more separations, more adventures, and eventually, a tragic end to their story. But none of that can diminish the magic of that one day in November 1981. For a fleeting moment, in a fictional garden in a fictional town, love conquered all, and 30 million people stopped what they were doing to watch. It was, and remains, truly epic. Thanks for taking this trip down memory lane with me. What are your favorite TV moments that brought everyone together? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next dive into pop culture history.